time. It's our time, my friends. Time for millions of maturepreneurs, 55 plus, who are hashtag not done by a long shot, to revolutionize how we lead, do business, and innovate our world. I'm your host, Jeanette Anderson, and welcome to my conversations with fascinating people who would rather inspire than retire. Hello, everybody, and welcome to another fabulous episode of the Maturepreneur World Podcast. I'm your hostess, Jeanette Anderson, and today I have with me the bodacious, lovely, and very amusing Lori Lyons. Lori and I met quite a while ago, I think on the Marketers Cruise or at various events in our industry. I don't know, we're both ubiquitous and everywhere, but she's one of my favorite people in this industry, and her and I are both big fans of y'all, of Maturepreneurs. She has the Encore podcast. Is that the
Encore Entrepreneur? Yes.
Encore Entrepreneurs podcast, and serves people like us, helping us with our website and our social media. We're social proof and marketing and so forth. So I am so happy you're here, Lori. I love spending time.
I'm excited. I know. I'm excited to be here. I've been looking forward to this.
All right. So hang on, guys. We're going to go through the typical read the bio thing so you can get to know her a little bit. Then I'm going to ask her to tell us all sorts of juicy details that she has never told another soul. I don't know if she'll cooperate, but we're going to try. And then we're going to dive into a couple of things. One, we're going to be talking today about social proof and how to use it to grow your business, how to get clients, how to use this powerful way to build trust and make it easy for potential clients to say yes. But we're also going to talk about her journey as a maturepreneur and how she has stayed in the game and been successful at what she's been doing, because she's been doing it for a while now. And just insights about what it takes to actually grow your business. So stay tuned. Lori is a great resource for you. So Lori Lyons is a marketing strategist and website design agency owner that shows entrepreneurs how to get more leads, more clients, and make more money with a captivating digital and website presence. Her website design agency creates websites that actually produce clients and are not just become another pretty face in the digital world, and are not just another pretty face in the digital world. Lori guides business owners to make their marketing simple through various programs. She is a sought-after speaker, guest, and host of the popular The Encore Entrepreneur Podcast. Her audience is seasoned business owners that are now building the business of their dreams after life in the corporate world or other careers. So, my people.
Yes.
You all. So you all who are listening, she is dedicated to supporting you and helping you take that next step, as I am. So that's why I'm excited to have you here. Now,
yes.
I need to get you back on screen.
Yeah. And while you're doing that, let me just make the record clear. We met. I was trying to think of when we actually met. You interviewed me on the Voices of Women Summit. You were my interviewer.
Oh,
and we just clicked.
Right.
We just clicked.
That's
and
right.
It was like, we got to get together right afterwards. So that was
okay. Awesome.
a long time ago. Yeah.
Great. I'm just noticing I'm looking very, very pale. I don't know why. I'm not ghostly normally like this, but it's okay, y'all. I'm not dead and I'm not dying. I'm okay.
It's lighting.
It's odd lighting. I got to figure that out. Oh, the joys of the maturepreneur or the mobile lifestyle, because setting up lighting here. The quick aside, Lori, this is an old house and it's all two-prong. And so my computer and a lot of my tech requires three-prong with the grounding prong. You would think it would be easy to find an extension cord that goes from two-prong to three-prong. You would be so entirely wrong. I had to go to 3 stores and find a hardware store to get a little adapter that goes from two-prong to three-prong and then an extension cord so I can plug in my stuff. But if you are thinking of a mobile lifestyle, I encourage you to get one of those.
There you go.
No.
Hey, you could start an Amazon shop.
Yes, exactly.
That could be your first.
No, you need it, but you do. Anyway, so one of the things that's still to be hooked up is my lighting that warms me up and makes me look a little less dead. Okay, let's get to more important things. Like, tell us something about you people would never guess.
Oh gosh. I knew this was coming and I've been trying to think of something fun to do, fun with this. I decided at the age of 62, I wanted to have fun in life. And so I learned how to ride a motorcycle. I got my motorcycle license.
That about you. That's right. That's what I love about you.
Okay. A few people know I was reading a Michael Hyatt book. It was a Saturday afternoon. Does that tell you what my life was doing? And I was reading a Michael Hyatt book, and my husband and my son were in the garage working on their motorcycles. And they had been having a lot of fun riding around and doing all this. And the question that Michael asked in his book was, what do you do for fun? And I'm like, well, it's Saturday afternoon and I'm sitting here reading a business book. What does that tell you? Like, I don't do anything for fun. That's all. And this was in, I guess, 21. So we were coming off of COVID and things were still, kind of weird. And I'm like, I don't do anything for fun. I couldn't think of anything. I love to read, but I was reading a business book on a Saturday afternoon, and I like baseball and stuff like that, but it was, October, I think. So I walked out to the garage and I said, I want to learn how to ride a motorcycle. And my son, who was about 24 at the time, looked up and said, no poop, Mom. He substituted. Really, Mom? No shit. You want to learn how? And I'm like, yes, I do. So that afternoon, they took me up to the church parking lot and I started learning how to ride a motorcycle. And I rode around the church parking lot for a long time and then signed up for a motorcycle safety class. And so and I was the oldest one in the class. I was older than the instructors who were ancient. And so the kids were coming out like they were kids, like, it's so cool you're doing this. Like, I wonder if my grandma would do this. I'm like, oh, shut up.
Yeah, really.
Yeah. And I loved it because I got my license and a couple of them didn't, because here in the States, once you pass that class, you just have to take the certificate and go get your motorcycle license. So, fast forward a couple of years later and I had to go get a new debit card. My debit card got stolen. So I had to go get a new debit card. And the kid behind the counter that was giving me the new debit card, he's like, you have a motorcycle license? I'm like, yes, I do. Thank you very much.
Okay, what kind of bike
fun.
Ride? What?
I had a Vulcan 900, which was a big bike.
Oof.
I learned to ride on a Rebel 300 and then got a Honda Shadow and then went to the Vulcan and ultimately sold it. And I've every now and then, long story short, my son had a really bad motorcycle accident. Oh. Very fortunate to be here. And even talking about it, I could I won't dwell on it, but it kind of I'm in Atlanta and the traffic here is horrible. It's like, so every now and then I'll be like, I'll go get another motorcycle. But then I'll think, if I do that, I'm going to take it somewhere and go ride in the mountains where it's pretty and open and not the traffic. So we're I still have it.
Yeah. And
every now and then, especially when the weather starts turning and it's like really cool weather, but I got it, I did it, and it was fun.
I love that.
Yes.
You know what? Literally yesterday, I was going past the motorcycle, and as I was driving down here and thinking, I could still get my motorcycle license.
You could do it. Absolutely.
And there's part of me that is trepidatious, right? Because older, bones and all that shit. But there's another part of me that is like, yeah, but I've always wanted to do it, so why not do it? And I love that story. It's a good reminder. So
absolutely, go do it. It really is fun. Yeah. And more of it was the challenge of, I taught myself something that was trepidatious.
Yeah.
Learning how to do a curve, like to turn on a motorcycle, you have to move your head where you want to go.
Yeah.
And that is very hard for me. I have a wonky right eye. I don't see very well out of my right eye. So making right turns in a car is kind of frightening, much less doing it on a motorcycle. So for me, it was the challenge of, I can do this. And, it was fun.
Yeah.
So yeah.
Awesome.
Yeah.
I love that. Your intrepid spirit is part of why I love you. All right. So let's talk about your business journey and your why, of course, your purpose. So tell us a little bit about how you came to own a website agency.
We don't have enough time, but I'll make it fast. Went to school to be a teacher and discovered after a couple of years that, back in the 80s when I was making less than $9,000 a year, this was not the career path for me. So I left teaching and went to work in corporate world where I kind of got my start with design and marketing, and then got laid off and went to work for a very small company, and where I met my future husband. He was my sales rep. The problem was I was in Atlanta, he was in New Jersey. So geographically undesirable can work. And we made it work. But, a year after we started talking personal, we got married. So I moved to New Jersey. And after about 4 years of working for a small business related to what I was doing here in Atlanta, I was looking and thinking, I'm literally paying this guy that I worked for 50% of my profits. And at that point, all he was doing my payables and receivables. And that was a lot of money for somebody to do your payables and receivables. And I'd built a really good client base. So I thought, I'm going to do this myself. And I went to work from home, and nobody at the time was working from home. That was really weird. Entrepreneur had not become a word. But I sold marketing packaging, and that involved design. It involved, working with in the New Jersey area, there was a lot of pharmaceuticals. So pharmaceuticals were a lot of my clients, working with them on designing their packaging and releases and all that. So it was a lot of fun, but it also gave me a really strong background in marketing and design. So fast forward many more years, the internet comes along, and it's like, this internet thing isn't going anywhere. This isn't going away. And nobody really wanted binders and folders anymore. So I had to do my first swivel. I don't call it a pivot. I call it a swivel because you can make fine adjustments with a swivel. And I went to work for somebody else, and I started selling print. It was a commodity business in the 2008, 2010. And I was like, this isn't for me. So I went to work for a small digital marketing company. Jeanette, when I tell you, I didn't even know how to set up email. I knew nothing. Nothing about, other than marketing is marketing. And the foundations of marketing are the same no matter what the medium is. Yes. So I was hired as an account executive and realized that if I start learning a little bit about this digital part of it, that I could serve my clients better. So that's what I did. Fast forward 3 years, and I got laid off because I wasn't technical enough. Unbeknownst to him, I had been getting technical because I was asking questions. I was playing around on my own. YouTube was in, and there was a lot of technical on YouTube at the time. It wasn't quite what it is today. And so I was learning. And so, when he said I'm not technical enough, I'm like, hold my beer. I'll show you. And so that's when I started. One of my high school buddies called me, and he said, I'm looking for a website, and I hear you're working for a website company. And I'm like, well, not anymore, but if you need a website, I'll build you a website. And it was kind of like that, let me go learn how to ride a motorcycle moment. It was like, why not? Because if I don't, somebody else will. And I told him, I said, I've never built one, but if you're patient, and if I'll bring in what I need to help through this. But he said, I've waited 13 years for a new website. It's not going to hurt me to wait a couple more months. So that's what it was. And he's still a client to this day. So,
that's so great. What year was that?
2013.
Okay. And so was that a WordPress website, or what did HTML? What did you build it in?
It was a WordPress website. I came from a WordPress shop, so that's what I taught myself. Okay. And it was different from what it is today. So it's, that was before all the builders were just starting to come in and all that. So you were still doing a lot of wonky design. Yeah.
Yeah. Awesome. Okay. And so you built his website, and that launched your agency. And did you use, when you said design and stuff, did you use subcontractors? And
not at first. No, at first I did it all myself.
Okay.
And I built it slowly because, Jeanette, when you're making a big change like that, it's frightening. And I was not ready to tell myself that I could do this as a business because, then you start thinking, well, I've taught myself on YouTube. I have WordPress for Dummies. I'm not technical. You have that baggage coming in. And so I hired a business coach to help me with a direct marketing business that I was doing at the time, thinking this is going to be it. I'm going to do this and I'll just build websites on the side.
Yeah.
And she was like, Lori, what are you doing? Why are you, I was selling jewelry. She said, it takes a lot of earrings to make one website. I'm like, you're right. So there again, without thinking about it, like the next day, I put out my shingle and said, you're right. You're absolutely right. I was putting a lot of time into this. And so I was 52 at the time and went on and went forward and haven't looked back since. But after a while, I realized, I was building a portfolio. If you were one of my original website people, I'm really sorry. I apologize to you publicly. but I was learning and they knew that. And I was building a portfolio. So I was giving some really good deals to build my portfolio. But what was happening, and this is a mistake a lot of business owners make, is we undervalue what we do.
Yeah.
Even though we have all of this in us that says, oh, I'm just learning, blah, 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 blah.
Yeah.
So what ultimately happened was I was working 20 hours a day, 7 days a week, selling these products I was vastly underselling, thinking that that's how I was going to build my business. And I was burning myself out. And, it just wasn't fun anymore. It was like I wasn't looking forward to it. And I kept thinking, they hired me to do this. I can't offload this because they hired me. And the big aha moment for me was they hired me to do their website, but they didn't hire me to actually build it.
Yes.
That's when I went out and got my first team member. I hired somebody to come in and start building the websites for me. Then I discovered, okay, this is where it gets fun because then I can come in and do the marketing and the messaging and and somebody else can do the actual putting it into place.
Yeah.
So, and from there on, it just grew and grew. And I've discovered they were much better than I was at that.
That's awesome. And a very typical path for smart entrepreneurs is to, figure out that what people are paying for are results, not necessarily me doing the work, right?
Exactly.
And they are paying for me to make sure that they get what they want. And so you've been doing that now for a dozen years, something like that, right?
Yeah.
What's one of the biggest, we'll still stick with your entrepreneurial journey for a minute. What's one of the biggest things that's changed as you've gotten older?
Oh, good question. It's not a fear of doing something. It is more a fear of putting myself out there in a different way. And, you look back and you think, all right, this is what I'm known for. This is what people know me as a website person. People know me as this person. People know me as this. But what I found with switching over and working on my podcast, The Encore Entrepreneur, is that there are other skills that we have that come along to us naturally. We just have to not be afraid to put ourselves out there. And that's been my biggest challenge, to overcome that fear of, well, what happens if somebody wants a website and they don't think of me? Oh my gosh, So it's changing, and it's, and I think as entrepreneurs and as maturepreneurs, we don't have a lot of time to sit and figure things out anymore. And that was where some of my dilemma was. I'm very comfortable in this. I'm very, I can do this in my sleep. I'm good at this.
Yeah.
Why mix things up? It's because, we can do things that we're really good at, but sometimes we need challenges too.
Yeah. We need to stay fresh and alive and learning and growing and having fun with it, right?
Yes.
And on that note, one of the things that I want to just bring in here, and then we'll switch to social proof and that topic. You mentioned, that your journey with tech and that you were like, I'm not technical enough. And that's one of the big considerations, or first of all, it's an ageist myth and belief that a lot of older people are not technical.
Right.
And then an assumption that if you're over 55 or whatever, that you don't know what a computer is. The irony, of course, is we created the internet and all the technology that exists now, right? Most of it anyways. And we created AI. We created the internet. So like, you're welcome. Anyways, but we also have this internal ageist thing of I'm not technical enough. Now, I personally think AI is a blessing and a curse, right? It'll put us all out of work, but it's also a great leveler because now you don't have to be technical. You have to know how to use AI. And if you know how to use AI, which is really very simple, it's like talking to someone, really, then you can get done the things you need to do, including the technical things. Tell me what you think about AI and how it's impacting older entrepreneurs, older workers. What are you seeing with your clients and your experience?
Yeah, from my experience, being an ADHD business owner and having struggled with it all of my life, and finally, putting a name to it, it's like, well, I can't be that because, I wasn't labeled that in school, but, the symptoms are there. But I have found for me, it's an ideator. It helps me take all of this stuff that is morphing around in my head and putting it into a system or something that makes sense. And I'll give you for example, I'm as part of, leading into the social proof, we're doing and working with some of our clients on doing, just spot on, really awesome testimonials, which is a hard thing for a lot of people because, you can ask for a testimonial, you go, oh, Jeanette was great. She's amazing. Okay. That doesn't tell me anything. I know she is. So we're really working on fine-tuning and honing in on getting really good testimonials. So I had this program in my head of how I wanted my testimonials that we've been gathering from clients to look. I had all the video transcripts. I had the whole thing, but I was having trouble putting it into an order that made sense. So I uploading them all into ChatGPT, and I said, here are the transcripts of all the interviews. Find for me a flow that makes sense. Find for me the timeline point where it is in the interview, then put it in an order that makes sense, and give me, I asked for several different things from it. And within 5 minutes, I had exactly what I needed that would have taken me hours to go through the video, go through the, all of the stuff to figure it out. Now, I still go back and tweak it because, AI, you still have to put your own voice to it. You still have, it's amazing, but it's not the be all end all. I can always tell when I get be all end all from somebody, because it's not, it's not there yet. I think it will be, but for me, it's taking all this stuff in my brain and helping me prioritize it and helping me come out with ideas that I would not have thought of or think of in a different way. Yeah. And that's how I use it.
I love it for research and for finding me stuff and writing articles with cited sources, that kind of thing. I love it. And I do a lot of done for you services, as you know, for clients using it. I think it's a great tool. And when we learn how to use it, like I said, it levels the playing field for people because you can go into a job and if they say, are you technical? You can say anything you ask me to do, I will be able to figure out. Between AI and YouTube, there's nothing you can't learn.
Absolutely. Absolutely. And let me clarify the are you technical too, because when he said that, we were like really into the weeds of hosting and like working on servers and all. So it was that kind of technical that he was talking about, which I had no desire to learn. I didn't want to learn it. I didn't want to know how to do it. It wasn't going to serve me. So that wasn't, so I was okay with where we ended up because it started me on this path. Yeah. So,
well, and you do have to be technical if you're down in especially the hardware weeds, right? Systems design and that kind of thing. But that's not where most of us want to go, nor is that job that we are looking for if that's, not our background.
Yeah. There are people that's their jam and that's what they get paid for. And that's who you want to know.
Exactly. Okay. So let's talk about social proof and some marketing wisdom for people. Okay. So social proof, testimonials, right?
Yes.
And what else is it, and why does it matter so much?
Right. Testimonials, things that people say about you when you're not in the room.
Okay.
And it is one of the best ways that you can show proof of concept, trust. It's a trust thing. Mm-hmm. So when somebody comes to your website or comes to whatever you're doing, and they see that, that Lori Lyons said about Jeanette Anderson, blah, 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 not just she's amazing, which I think she is, but Jeanette can really hone in on the what makes your business, let's see, how would I say this? Jeanette can really hone in on the language that makes your business stand out and brings in clients for you and can help make you money. Mm-hmm. I mean, that's a much better testimonial and much more specific than Jeanette's great. She's amazing. Hire her.
Yeah.
It says, this is what you do for me. This is how you help me. This is how you serve me. And this is what it's going to, so that I can make more money. Because that's ultimately what business owners want to do. If you're not making money, you're not in business.
Right. Yeah.
So it's doing that and asking for testimonials in the right way. When I first started working on this program, I talked to my clients and I did video interviews with them. And I found very quickly that it's really uncomfortable asking people questions about yourself. so that's where the, this whole thing came up. It's like, all right, how can I do this differently? So we're working on a platform now where we will do that for clients. We will interview your clients and do it all and put it all together for you. So it's really kind of a fun thing to do. And I've been doing that with my clients recently asking very specific questions related to their industry about how they serve their clients and what their thoughts are. So it's been really cool. But it's not.
It can be very tricky to ask people to tell you how great you are. And
yes, it really is.
What they got from you, but it's also very important. And it's something that a lot of people really shy away from because, we have all these things. I don't want to impose. I don't want to make them feel awkward. What if they don't love me? What if they didn't feel that I did a good job? And all of this stuff that comes up.
Yes.
So it can help to get a third party to do it. But what's a really simple way for someone to ask for a testimonial?
Ask them if it's okay, and then write the testimonial yourself, and then ask them to approve it. There is nothing wrong with that. It's one of the biggest myths that people think it has to be your words. Mm-hmm. As long as you are approving and it's factual, and you're not making crap up just to sound good. If this is something you really did, write it yourself and send it to them and say, "Is this accurate? Does this represent what we did for you? If so, can I use it as a testimonial?"
Yeah. And edit it if you'd like. Yeah.
Oh, absolutely. Edit it as you see fit. The other myth around testimonials is, let's say, Jeanette, you give me a testimonial and it's not quite exactly what I need. You can edit testimonials.
Yeah. Yes.
As long as you send it back to them and say, I did a slight edit. Is this okay? And now, in fact, I say to my clients, when you give me a testimonial, we will probably edit it. So just so you know that you're okay with that. And shorten them, sound bites. You don't need, 6 pages of books, and you don't need a whole 30 testimonials on your site. 4 to 5 is the most you want to put on it, because then it looks like you're trying to overkill. So.
Right. Well, and so one of the things that I do, tell me if you think this is a good idea or not, is I have, and you can feel free to say no. So what I took my coaching testimonials and I created a coaching testimonial sheet. So it's 2 sides, maybe 10, 12 testimonials total. And I have a speaking testimonial sheet and I have a workshop testimonial sheet. And so if I'm talking to a speaking bureau or something like that, I send them my speaking testimonials. If it's a potential coaching client, I send them the coaching testimonials. And then I just have a few of them in for instance, my newsletter in a little carousel that is about whatever it is we're promoting. So if we're promoting me as a speaker, then we have a few in there, like you said, 3 or 4. So is that overkill to have a kind of 2-page thing to send to people? Yes. Okay. So it should only be 4 or 5.
Yeah, and what I would do is I would do a testimonial for each one of those things and just put it on one sheet along with your other stuff. Because think about it. Would you read 20 testimonials about Jeanette? Would you read 20 testimonials about Lori? Probably not.
No, I'd scan them. I'd go, okay, well, and I'd look for the ones that are relevant for me in terms of what I'm looking for.
Or I might look for somebody I know.
Yeah.
I had this before we got on a call. I was on a call with somebody else. It was kind of a let's get to know each other call, and he sent me part of his program, and I scanned it really quick to see who I knew, and it turned out I knew several people that he put on his testimonials, which immediately elevated it for me. I was like, oh, he works with so-and-so. He works with so-and-so. That's kind of cool. Yeah. But the other key to them is you want to use names, unless you're in a health related industry and you have to worry about HIPAA or there's some privacy, some of the attorney, if there's privacy issues, then it's understandable. But if you're business to business, put your client's name in there, put what they do, and put their website, a link to their website, because it serves a couple of things. Not only does it make them credible, and you can look up and say, this is a real person, but it also gives you some SEO cred because you can, it links to their site and it's outgoing links, and there's some other things to it. Also, you want to update them. Mm-hmm. Don't just keep them, because if you put new testimonials on your site or wherever you're doing it, that becomes new content for SEO.
Okay. So the thing I don't have that I will go and get my team to add is the websites for the SEO, because you're right, that makes perfect sense now.
Yes.
And to, rotate them and update them with newer, fresher things. And so you do the interviews and you put together video and or written testimonials for clients, which is a great way to get that handled. Yes. And I know it's important, but why is it so important? Why do people really care about this? Why do people really need this kind of social proof?
Do you use Amazon?
Yeah.
I just recently bought, this is really silly, but I bought Scrub Daddy Halloween scrubbers on Amazon. It was $5.97, and I will have them in 2 days. And I went and looked at the reviews before I spent $5.97.
Okay.
Because I wanted to know that they were, first of all, they were Scrub Daddy quality, that I wasn't wasting my $5.97 US, by the way. So think about everything that we buy. When you go to a new restaurant, you go and you look at the reviews before you go to the restaurant. Yeah. And when I go, I always first go to the 1-star reviews, because I want to know what's going on, what happens. And that's one of the things that I had a client recently who got all freaked out because they bought a company and they bought the name, they bought all the assets of the company, which also meant they bought their Google reviews. And they didn't have some good Google reviews a couple of years ago. I was like, don't worry about it, because when you're too perfect, that's a problem also. Yeah. So you want to know. I used to, years ago when you used to give references, I would tell my clients, these are my 5 references or 3 or however many it is. One of those is there was problems. I'm not going to tell you who it was, but I want you to know these are not perfect references, because I want you to know what happens when things happen. And we're human. Things happen. So, so it's okay.
Trust. Yeah, builds trust.
Yeah, absolutely. It does build trust, because it says they're not perfect. They're okay with that. So, yeah.
Awesome. Okay, so if people are starting out and don't have testimonials, what do you recommend? Or they think they don't have testimonials.
Right.
What can they do in the form
They do. They just don't know. Because, and I had this happen recently. Somebody totally changed careers. But when we looked at her old career, she had pages and pages and pages of testimonials. It just so happened it wasn't in the career that she was going for. But when we went and looked at the testimonials of the ones that she had, it talked about how detail oriented she was. It talked about the customer experience that she provided. It talked about how on top of things when things went wrong. So all we did was pull out those snippets of what would affect and what would be relevant for her, where she was going with her new career. There's still testimonials.
Yeah.
If you're starting a new business, maybe you've worked, maybe you're coming back in as, somebody whose kids are now grown, but you did PTA all of those years. This is always my favorite example, because if you can work PTA, oh my gosh, you can do anything. Parent Teacher Association in schools. Go back to some of those people you worked with and get testimonials from them.
Yep.
Just because the testimonial isn't saying what a wonderful website design agency we have, it can talk about how good we are with detail, how cherished they felt as a client. I mean, there's all kinds of things that we can do, and we all have those.
Yes, absolutely. Your volunteer work, if you've got, you can get people from your church, if you've done things with the church, any organization,
boards,
work with, your Boy Scout troop, etc.
So not for profits. There's a lot of people that give for non-for-profits. There's great testimonials right there.
Yeah. And they're talking about really your character and your competence. And those are transferable, highly transferable.
Absolutely.
What you're doing now. And that's really what people want to know is, your character and your competence.
Right.
They don't really want to need to know the specific skill set and depth of your skill set, unless that's specifically what they're hiring. But they want to know that you will do the work and that they can trust you.
Absolutely. And it's kind of funny because, when I'm talking to my clients and we are talking about, their origin story and, how they got into business, because it's always really interesting to people. And then I have I call them my accountant spreadsheet people that are like, no, I got to put my credentials. I got to do this. I got to do this. And it's got to be, so we always still have that credentialed social proof. We just don't put it front and center. If you want to know more about Jeanette Anderson, click here for her bio. That's how we do it, and that's where we put it. I'm featured in USA Today, or all of those, that type of social proof.
Yeah, absolutely. And it's not as hard to do that nowadays, to be in media and on media, and to have testimonials provided for you from a variety of different sources. To be on podcasts is fairly easy these days. So you can build credibility builders a lot easier than you used to be able to, I think.
Right. Now. Oh, absolutely. And don't be afraid to put it out there and show it off. If you go to a lot of the names, you'll see as seen on or as seen in, and that's social proof. If you're a member of professional organizations, if you have certifications, those are all social proof. For a long time, I was a member of BNI, and I had BNI out there. I'm no longer, so I took it down, but any other organization like that you're in, because it shows that you're working your business. It shows that, other people value you. So anything like that can go out there, especially if you're just getting started. Absolutely. And it's a connecting point, because someone else may go, oh, I'm in BNI too, or I did that too.
And coming back to that origin story, one of the things that I know we share in common is a belief that people buy why you do what you do, not what you do. And that you really should lead with your why, the purpose behind, your life purpose, because that's what they really care about, not the credentials, not the fact that you're an author speaker. So if you've got a bio on your website that leads with, I'm an author speaker, blah, 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 then basically what you're doing is going, want, and no one's listening until they get down to the stuff that's about them, that they care about, and the stuff that's about you as the real human being that they want to get to know and see if they actually like and trust you. So lead with that, and then put the credentials, et cetera, down lower for those who want some of that credibility. They like the letters or the numbers or the whatever, but there's less and less of those people, and more of the people who want to know just who are you. And so start with your why. So on that note, Lori, what's your why? Why do you do this work? Why do you keep at it? What's your purpose in life?
It's funny, because I struggled with this for a long time. Because I kept thinking, when I got started in this, it was my why. I had to pay the bills.
Yeah.
It was, which is not a really good why.
Yeah.
But it's like, why do you stay in it? Why do you learn, and why are you still in it? And it's because I really enjoy helping build businesses. I enjoy taking people that are our age, the maturepreneurs, and showing them that it's never too late to build the business of your dreams. It's never too late to learn something new. And just because something's uncomfortable doesn't mean that it's not going to be growth. You get more growth from being uncomfortable than you do any way, shape, or form that, any courses that you take.
Yeah.
And when I finally, it was like, that's why I do what I do. Because I like being able to explain simply. I like being able to work with our age group people and say, it's not too late. Do what you want to do. Somebody asked me if I was retiring. And I'm like, I'm never going to retire. I'm having too much fun.
Exactly. You and me both. And I think retirement is an outdated notion anyways, and most people are not doing it. There really is only about 20% of the population that's fully, completely retired, as in not working and off golfing, knitting, whatever they're doing. And so if you're part of the other 80%, whether you're working part-time, full-time, in nonprofits, whatever it may be, you're not the minority anymore. You're the vast majority of people who are reinventing, reigniting, finding out who they are now, that they are not who they've been their whole life, reinventing or redefining that identity. And so in terms of your why, okay, can I push back a little bit?
Sure.
And what you described is what you do. What you do is people with their websites, and you love helping them get seen and be successful in their business. Why does that matter to you? Why do you care that people, of any age, but our age, are more successful in their business?
Because so many people think that they can't. They think I'm too old. I hear this. You can't teach an old dog new tricks. Well, yeah, you can. And that makes my heart hurt when I hear that, because nothing drives me more crazy than somebody says, I can't work Google Drive. Yes, you can. And I have, clients, I love you, but you drive me crazy when you say that, because therein lies, it's like, if I can show a maturepreneur what, learning to ride a motorcycle at 62, starting an online digital business at 52, when I wasn't technical, when I was called not technical, that became the challenge. That became my why of this is challenging. And it drives me crazy now when I hear, boomers talked about in 4-letter language, like what made us bad people?
Yeah, exactly.
We just went off on a whole nother tangent, but yeah. Okay,
so what I'm hearing, we're getting a little closer here. What I'm hearing is, don't tell me no, because if you tell me no, I'm going to prove you wrong. That's what I'm hearing. So
that's a good one. Yeah.
Have you always been a rebel? Were you a rebel when you were young?
No, I was like sit in the front of the classroom and like answer the questions. And I remember when I was in high school, I left a party because, God forbid, they were smoking weed, or drinking beer. That was so not me. And it still is not to a lot of extent. But I've always been a rule follower, and I'm okay with that. I'm comfortable with that to a certain extent. So when I hear, but I'm also, no is not a, no is a complete sentence, but it's also a challenge.
Yeah. Okay.
Hold my beer.
What I hear is, I'm the rule follower to a point when the rule starts to constrain me and tell me that I can't do and have what I want. And then the rule needs to go.
Yeah.
The status quo needs to go. Okay. Right. So part of your why is really supporting people in getting that they still have way more in them that they can bring out and act on and do and be, and that I can't is a story.
Yes.
Yeah.
I love that. Thank you for helping me with my why.
And I suspect if we dug a little deeper into your childhood and the why the rule follower and so forth, because it's surprising how many rule followers and approval seekers and so forth become the rebels later in life because we go, okay, that's enough of that nonsense.
I know, right?
And constraint and restriction and, squishing my self-expression. So I'm glad that you have tapped into your rebel side because it looks good on you, my friend.
Well, thank you.
It also helps lots and lots and lots of people to show up and be and do what they want to do and be who they want to be. And that I love and appreciate so much about you. So you've got a gift for people. Tell them about that. What can they do and how can they find more about you and find you?
Yes. If you want to know more about social proof, you're welcome to get my gift for you, which is called Get Clients to Say Yes. And it's a long title. The ultimate social proof checklist every business needs to build trust and boost sales. And I have a feeling Jeanette will put the link in the show notes. And, it's 15 different ways that you can put social proof out there for yourself. Some of them you haven't really thought about as social proof. So it's a good checklist to
for
every business owner.
And where can they find you? What's your website, or where do you want them to come and look you up?
Go to LoriLyons.me. That will take you everywhere you need to go.
Okay.
It will take you to all my social media. It will take you to my website design agency. It will take you everywhere and give you all of the free gifts that I have available. So that's the best place.
LoriLyons.me. And if you're listening to the audio, that's LORI, Lyons, LYONS.me. And you will find Lori's gift along with the gifts of all of our other speakers in the vault. So go and opt into the vault and then opt into Lori's gift. But while you're there, see if there's other gifts that appeal to you and that you want to download, because we wanted to make it easy for you to get lots of goodies whenever you go in there. So go and get that. And that way also yours is there 24/7, 365 days a year. So when people come from another episode, they'll also go get your gift. So we thought that was a better way to make it a win-win-win for our listeners, for our guests, and for us.
Absolutely.
So, thank you for providing that. I am actually going to go get it because you titillated me with there's probably a couple of ways there that you haven't thought of. And it's like, okay, I got to go see if I'm doing those.
Oh, absolutely.
So that's excellent. What's one last piece of advice you'd like to leave maturepreneurs with about anything, but especially around the getting clear, getting going, and jumping in? What would you say?
It's easy to say, but hard to do. Don't be afraid. That's probably every time that I've found myself having tremendous growth, it's because I've been afraid to do it. And it took a while, but you take, deep gulps and what's the worst that can happen? So, don't be afraid to do what you want. Don't be afraid to raise your prices. Don't be afraid to get visible. Don't be afraid to get on podcasts. Don't be afraid to grow your business. Don't be afraid to try new things. Don't be afraid to go ride the motorcycle.
Yes. Or simply be willing to do it even if you are afraid.
Yes.
Because, there's lots of times I'm scared, but I do it anyways. So that's a great thing. Don't say no. Don't let no stop you. That's what Lori's all about. All right. Thank you so much for listening, everybody. Please do subscribe and share this episode, and subscribe and give us feedback and make comments and, just love us up. We appreciate that tremendously. And I want to hear from you. I really do want to hear what more content would you like to hear about? What kinds of things is helping you? What's not? So please leave notes in the show notes below or in the comments below, and reach out. You can find us at maturepreneur.world and the Maturepreneur World on Facebook community. We would love to support you. So you'll find wonderful people like Lori there. Reach out if you are looking for someone to support you with getting your website, your presence out there, your digital marketing. This is a woman that you can trust. This is a woman that you can work with who has the right skills, the right experience, and the chutzpah that you need to get you going. So thank you for being here, Lori. I appreciate you, my friend.
Thank you for having me.
Have an audacious week, everybody. Bye for now. Thank you for listening. I'd love it if you left a comment and subscribed. And I encourage you to apply one aha from this interview right away so you can turn your wisdom into wealth and your contribution into positive change. Bye for now.